and welcome. My name is Chris from ChristopherHole.com, and welcome to this week's whiteboard, where we're going to be talking on the topic of a vegan diet. We're going to be looking at some pros and some cons, and we are going to be discussing, is it useful or is it not so useful to follow a vegan diet? Now, I'm commenting on this because I think I'm in quite a unique position. I've been a carnivore, I've eaten the normal diet that you would see. I've been a vegan. I'm now sat in what you would describe as a vegetarian diet, but I never set out to become a vegan or a vegetarian. It just kind of unfolded as I've educated myself. I've found myself finding that so far as a happy medium. I believe things will change in the future, but that's my journey, and this is an education on the vegan diet, pros and cons, because there are a few people out there that sit on the side of the fence that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and there are other people that sit on the opposite side of the fence saying it's the worst thing since sliced bread. So you've got these two apparently contradicting arguments. Now, there will be truth in both of them, so it's understanding both of those arguments, and then you're in a place where you can make a much more informed decision. Because what a lot of people are doing is they will only read what supports what they believe, and therefore have a biased view on the subject. Whereas what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to go onto the other side of the fence to which we are stood, read those arguments, understand those arguments, and own those arguments, and only then can we make a much more informed decision as to what is the best way forward. Because there are various different aspects that influence the way we eat, and it's not just health benefits. There are other things that come involved, and we're going to discuss those on the next slide. But before we get into that, I would just like to mention my social media channels. You've got @ChristopherHole on Twitter, you've got Christopher Hole Training on Facebook, and you've got Christopher Hole on Instagram. So please do come along there, like and follow. If you do have any more questions on this subject, please do either come along to those and leave comments, leave questions, or just underneath this video, just leave a comment, leave a question, and I'll do my best to answer it to the best of my abilities, or possibly create another video on that topic or question. Alternatively, come to the website, go to ChristopherHole.com/workshops. You can find out more about the workshops that I run. Come along there and get your questions answered a little bit more specifically. So, coming back to today's topic, which is vegan diet, pros and cons. Now, I just want to start off with, before we get into the pros and cons, on a abstract or part of the position of the American Dietetic Association on vegetarian diets. So it is the position of the American Dietetic Association that appropriately planned vegetarian diets, including total vegetarian or vegan diets, are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits in the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. So from their perspective, a vegan diet is fine. And that's what we have to understand with regards to our plant-based diets, is they are fine. Your body wants a variety of nutrients. And when you read more and you read a broad spectrum of papers, journals, textbooks, articles, whatever it might be, you'll tend to find the general consensus revolves around a plant-based diet. And that's the perspective that I'm coming from. That doesn't mean vegan diet. That doesn't mean carnivorous diet. It means a plant-based diet. So that's my perspective. So what we're going to talk about now are the pros and the cons. So, pros. The foods are associated with health benefits. We know that. It's shown. You can argue it if you like, but it's much easier just to accept the fact that it is associated with greater health benefits. It's getting easier. Certainly in the last 10 years, it's been getting a lot easier. You've started to see more vegan cafes, more vegan restaurants, more vegetarian restaurants, even in just normal regular restaurants. You will start to see more vegan options, gluten-free options, vegetarian options, and it's as a general sense of the way that we eat, it's becoming a lot easier to be a vegan or to be a vegetarian. It encourages variety. You start to open. If you were to go vegan for a week, it would challenge you to think of, what else can I be eating? What other foods can I combine together? What foods work well together in meals and things like that. So it will start to encourage variety, and it will get you to think about what you're eating, when and why and how. Digestion, absorption and excretion improves. If your digestive system and your absorption and your excretion is working more effectively, if that system of your body is working more effectively, your health is going to improve, because it's not necessarily the diet that holds the key to your health. It's the fact that your body needs to work optimally. If you can get your body working optimally, and how you do that is just by giving it the materials that your body needs. So all we need to do as humans is learn, how does our body work optimally? What foods do we need to give it? What stress levels do we want to be managing? And how much exercise and activity do we need to be giving it? If we can do that, that will tell us what food we need to eat, how we need to manage our stress levels, and the activity that we need to be doing. All we then need to do is follow suit. The problem that we find is that most people just focus on the vegan diet rather than, what does my body need, and what is my body asking me for? I'll just give it that. It may promote greater self-control. So when you're following a vegan diet or even vegetarian diet, again, you're managing what you're eating. You're thinking about what you're eating. You're having to use your mental capacity to think, what can I be eating then? How can I introduce this food? How can I introduce this nutrient into my diet? So with regards to certain foods, you're going to be trying to move away from them, which is a good thing, because then that promotes a degree of self-control, a degree of self-discipline, and a degree of willpower. So you're going to get a lot of benefits from trying a vegan diet if you want to do it. So the cons, it can be inconvenient. Certainly when you're starting out, it can be very inconvenient, because it can be a big change for people, because you're taking out a lot of traditional foods, a lot of foods that society say are a good thing to have in your diet. The tradition of the meals that you ate when you were growing up. Again, you're going to have to be thinking about changing them. What can I put in place of these foods? Am I going to have to completely change my whole routine on a certain day of the week because it revolves around this type of meal? So it can be a big change for people. The third thing, it doesn't make you healthy. Just because you're on a vegan diet doesn't make you healthy. As I mentioned before, it's going to the body and asking, what do you want? And then acting accordingly. So you have to eat the right foods. You have to eat the right foods in the right amount. So it's thinking about it in that way. It's not thinking, I want to become a vegan, therefore I'm going to become a vegan. If you want to, you can, because you will get everything you need from a vegan diet. But I don't believe that's not the place to come from. I'm going to become a vegan. What you want to come from is, I want to become healthy, and therefore I'm going to read everything about becoming healthy. What you'll then find is, you'll find out much more about what the body wants. If you just want to become a vegan, what you'll start to find is what vegans want you to believe, if that makes sense. And then you'll start to believe that. If you want to become healthy, a lot of people want you to become healthy who follow different diets. What you can then do is read about those different diets, and then you'll take the best from all of them. The next one, it's harder to get certain nutrients. So as I mentioned before, with regards to, it can be a big change. It requires a degree of self-control. That's because certain nutrients are only coming in certain foods. Now, a lot of the thing that scares people is that, because, oh my God, I'm going to be low on B12, or that's the reason they use not to do it, or I'm going to be low on vitamin D, or I'm going to be low on iron. Now, if you are eating enough of the right foods and your body is working correctly, you will be fine. The big thing is when we're talking about the traditional Western diet and how bad that is for your health, it takes a long time, or it takes a long period of time for you to realize that and see the symptoms of that, if that makes sense. And it's the exact same thing with if you're deficient in something. If you're eating too much of something, you get a certain outcome. If you're getting too little of something, you get a certain outcome. But it takes a period of time to realize that, and it might manifest in the body some way. That takes a period of time. So as long as you're aware of it and you're aware of the symptoms and what leads to that, there's no reason why you can't just start doing it, not worry about being deficient in certain areas, but then work on that over time, as long, again, as it's planned properly. And the final one that I generally find is it's not socially acceptable. So a lot of people talk about, oh, my friends, oh, my family members, oh, it's, people will think I'm this or people will think I'm that. That has not a lot to do with nutrition. That just has to do with their beliefs around what they're doing and who they believe they are as a person. So a lot of what people are eating, and that doesn't just go for a vegan diet, that goes for a lot of different diets. It comes down to that, do I feel I can do this as a person, not do I feel I can do this nutritionally? Because the actual logistics of doing veganism or a vegan diet or a total plant-based diet is quite simple. It's all of the stuff that comes around it. What are my friends going to say? What are my family going to say? What are the people at work going to say? What are people going to think about me? Blah, 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 blah. And all that type of stuff starts to kick up. So it's very much knowing that, as long as you understand there are pros and cons to it, there's nothing wrong with being with being a vegan nutritionally. If you do it properly, it's absolutely fine. So if you want to do it, go and do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But the last thing that I want this video from is me promoting a vegan diet, and I'm also not talking it down. It is there as a absolutely available thing for you to do if you want to become healthy. But don't research a vegan diet to become healthy. Research being healthy to become healthy. And what you might find is that a portion of vegan mentors come up, but you might find other mentors as well. So make sure you're understanding what health is before you become a vegan, if you want to become healthy, or if you want to use veganism as a way of becoming healthy, because that's a lot more effective way of doing it. So that sort of concludes what this video is about and what I want to cover. So hopefully it's been helpful. Hopefully you've gained a little bit from it. Hopefully it's broadened your awareness. Hopefully it's broadened your insight into health and into becoming a vegan, or using the vegan diet as a means of doing that. So many thanks for watching. Many thanks for listening. My name is Chris from christopherhole.com. I'll speak to you in the next whiteboard.